Hello, welcome to Here We Go. Today, let's talk about ranks in a game of Go. So, there are really three types these days: the professional, the amateur, and the online. Right? So, let's talk about professional first. Right? So, oftentimes you hear about someone's a professional 9 dan. Right? That's the highest rank in Go. That means that person is one of the best players in the world. So, how do you get to professional 9 dan? There are two ways. One is to become a world champion, right? So even if you're a professional 2 dan, professional 3 dan, if you win a world championship, nowadays you can instantly become a professional 9 dan because you are a world champion. Another way, of course, is to rise through the ranks. Once you make professional, become a 1 dan from an amateur, right? You make professional, then you can participate in professional tournaments, in professional games, and then you rise through the ranks. Right? You can only get promoted. You cannot be demoted. That's my understanding. So that's the professional ranking. So here you can see some of the top players in the world today. Right? It's dominated by Koreans and Chinese. There's some very strong Japanese players as well, of course. So you can go on GoRatings.org. I think it's updated quite frequently, so you get to know some of the players. I believe they have game records here as well. You can see some of the game records. Top professionals. Access denied. Never mind. Can also look at the history. Right, each year you get to know some of the players from the past. And these guys are all really big. When I started playing 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. Yeah, so it's a cool resource, GoRatings.org, to know about professional players. All right, next let's talk about amateur rankings. Right, it's a little tricky because it depends on which country you're in. Right, so the three main countries, of course, are China, South Korea, and Japan. But nowadays, there are also Go associations in Europe and in the US, right, and many other places in the world. And it depends, right? You get a certification from that country or that region's Go association. So worldwide, the top rank for amateurs is 8 dan. It's extremely rare, right? It's amateur world champion. Slightly more common, but also extremely rare, 7 dan, right? It has to be a national champ or at least a regional champ in some countries. And then there's 6 dan. So in some countries, it's amateur regional champion, right? So it's a very strong rank. So here, really, if you're 8 dan, you're probably equivalent of professional 2 dan. If you're 7 dan, you're stronger than a professional 1 dan. Why is that? Reason is because every year there are probably a few dozen professional 1 dans, and they come from 5 dans usually. For instance, in China, right? They come from 5 dans, so there are a couple dozen 5 dan that make professional 1 dan every year, but only one person becomes 7 dan every year in China. So that 7 dan is definitely stronger than the professional 1 dans, but they just don't want to be professionals. They can still make comfortable living teaching Go. So what about 5 dan and below, right? So 5 dan and below, you participate in local tournaments, right? So in China, for instance, to become a 5 dan, you have to compete with 4 dans, right? 4 dan players. For me, I played 12 games. I had to win 9 out of 12 to advance to 5 dan. So that's how I achieved my 5 dan rank many years ago, right? Again, if you want to become a 4 dan, you have to win, I think it's also 9 or 8 games out of 12 against other 3 dans in the tournament, right? So that's how you rise through the ranks. But once you're 5 dan, or some countries in 6 dan, you have to become a regional or national champion to advance one more dan. So it's actually very different. So if you're a 6 dan, say in China, it's very strong, very, very strong. And of course, there's a great variation even among 5 dans. You just made 5 dan from 4 dan, you're still pretty weak. But if you train, if you're aiming for a professional rank, then you become a very strong 5 dan. So if you go below, right, officially there's 30 Q, right? So Q is the rank that's below dan, right? So immediately below amateur 1 dan is amateur 1Q. And then 2Q is lower than 1Q. So 1Q is the highest ranking Q, but it's lower than dan, right? So personally, I don't really know what exactly each of these mean. Maybe it depends on the size of the board you play on, how many patterns you know. There are some tests, I don't know, but my suggestion would be for amateurs, for beginners especially, your first goal should be amateur 1Q or 1 dan. That should be your first major goal. You can look past all of these when you're starting out and set your goal at amateur 1 dan or 1Q and start from there. It's achievable. So when I was a kid, it took me about a year, right? If you're an adult, if you learn things faster, I think half a year is possible. So that's amateur ranking. And then there's online ranking. It really depends on the platform. So again, online ranking, it has 9 dan, right? Shows up as 9D. And then it has a lot of Ks, maybe 24K, 25K. I don't really know. Depends on the platform you're playing on. And of course, 9D is really for the strongest players online, right? So there are only about 1,000, maybe 2,000 professional players in the world, and they all can make 9D, right? And there are probably hundreds of thousands of amateurs out there who play online. So naturally, 9D is the strongest players, right? If you're a professional, you can easily make 9D online. If you're a 6 dan, if you're a regional champ, if you're a national champ, even if you're amateur, you can be 9D. Or even some really strong 5 dans, right? Their level is close to a professional 1 dan, they can be 9D online, right? And then 8D, 7D, 6D may still be 5 dan territory, but I defer to a resource called Sensei's Library. So here is another great resource online called Sensei's Library. It has all kinds of cool facts and resources about Go. So this is a chart that kind of compares the different ranks. These are the Go associations. So you see Japan, China, Korea, Europe, and the American Go Association. And the Go servers are KGS, IGS, WPADUC, DGS, OGS. I don't know what this is. And Taijin. I play on WPADUC and Taijin. I think these are pretty good platforms to play on, especially for beginners, amateurs. So you see the rank really varies from place to place, from platform to platform. But I think the average for 1 dan is around here, right? So if you play on Taijin, you know you have to be about a 2D or a 3D. If you play on WPADUC, you have to be a 1D to 3D. So that's your goal. If you're playing online, these are your goal. Of course, online rankings can be demoted. If you lose a lot of games, you get demoted. If you win a lot of games, you get promoted. So that's a little different from the amateur and professional ranks. Of course, this is only an approximation. It's hard to be very exact, and the strengths of the ranks, especially amateur ranks these days, vary a lot. But hopefully this is a useful overview for Go ranks. Thank you for watching.